Great, thanks. So I'm just going to open up the agenda. Oh, I think I have it open. Okay. So I will call this special meeting of Thursday, August 17, 2023 to order. I will call the roll, and I've got myself and Adam and Daryl, Alice and Karen and Shelby. And I would elevate Chris to voting status for tonight. And then I would move right on to the one agenda item that we've got tonight, which is the agenda item number 3, which is the John Casey Trust for Kazi DiBernardo, 24 North Main Street, map 19, block 42, lot 25, change of use from retail to restaurant. We expect, I think, Kazi to be here. But in the meantime, it's 6:33. Like I said, I'd like to be sensitive to everybody's time. So
thank you.
let's get right into the review. So Ty, would you walk us through your staff report?
Yeah, sure. So I believe that Kazi was before you a little over a year ago with the same application, but there was some issues with the lease agreement, and he had withdrawn his application because he couldn't get that secured. So he's coming back before you with the same application. And I, reviewed everything and found, that the parking is actually, so previously the space was the liquor store, and retail, he's going from retail to restaurant, and the parking spaces are based on our new parking requirement are similar. So doing the calculations would need 12 spaces, and the retail would have needed 12 spaces as well. So I'm not seeing that as a big problem. That seems very similar. He's working with the health department and the fire marshal. There is one change to the outside, which is the hood in between the two buildings on that one lot. For the hood, am I saying that right? Is it what is it? It's called a hood side vent on the side of the building, and that's a fire marshal requirement. I looked in the regulations and it didn't show any like setbacks between buildings. That would be an issue. I mean, there may be issues with fire marshal or building code, but they have to deal with that separately. And I'm assuming there wouldn't be. So then the only other thing that I saw with this application as you know, well then there's Kazi right now. And as you know, there's a requirement for the sewer commission to have signed off and given the certificate of approval for this. And I did check with Joyce this morning, and she said that he had not yet come forward. She believes that he'll probably need a grease trap. So that meeting is scheduled for September 12th. So I did reach out to him this morning just to let him know that that is something that he'll need to do.
Okay, great. So now that Kazi's here, Kazi, Ty just went through her staff report for us, and now is usually the time that we would open the discussion up to you and ask you if there's anything you'd like to talk us through in your application.
Okay, I believe you guys have everything in front of you. We're just going to be a pizzeria, with takeout and some sit down, delivering to the local schools and around surrounding area. What is it that you guys would like to know from me?
Well, I've got a few questions, but I think that what I'd like to do is open it up to the balance of the commission to see if they have any questions or comments regarding the application that's been submitted.
Okay, Yeah, sorry I'm late. I didn't know which, I was on the, I guess, the old Zoom meeting, so I'm sorry about that. I didn't have that before, so anyway,
I'm glad you're here.
thank you. Thank you for your time. Okay. So,
Just Alice or Daryl or anybody on the commission have anything to ask to start?
How many seats are you looking to add for the restaurant?
I believe it's the seating on there is 24. It'll be just, you know, come to the counter, order, and then sit down. You know, no table service or anything like that. Just, you know, takeout and seating, just because of the walk-in traffic, you know, in the area.
Kazi, you're adding, you're essentially adding a kitchen to this building, which I assume it doesn't have one.
That,
And the seating is up in front on the street side of the building.
yes, the front side, the front part would be on the street sidewalk side, and the kitchen would be in the back. So it would be, I believe the square footage is around 3,000 square feet. So it would be splits. It would be more to the kitchen than the front, just because of we anticipate, you know, with the schooling, you know, from what we already do a lot of takeout to the schools. So, you know, that would be important for prepping and storage of goods and what have you.
And then you know, it's because my screen is small. I don't see where the restrooms are.
Oh, there's a restroom up in front by I believe on the left side. But with the grease
Oh,
trap.
I see that now. I see that.
So that brings us, and then there's one already existing. Well, there's two existing, but we're going to remove one. So that way the smaller one will be removed and used for a service sink. And then there's one in the back that would be for the employees, myself.
Okay, I see that.
Be a handicap accessible unisex.
Okay. And so the building is already the doorways are already handicap
Yes, I believe,
accessible?
yes, yes.
I just had a question about the parking. We've already determined that you have enough spaces. I was just wondering what the configuration is. Are all those spots in the back? Are there spots along the building? Certainly the liquor store had a lot of, you know, quick trips in and out, and people, of course, would like to park near the entrance there, and it sometimes would get jammed up and a little difficult to pull out from there and pull in if you know, everybody who has a quick takeout wants to park there. What is the configuration of the parking alongside the building?
Well, I believe I'm not. I don't have the drawing right in front of me, but I believe the parking will be along the side of by the fence there and going towards the back, so that way people can park towards the back. We would encourage that with a sign say parking in rear, and then, you know, it would be for pickup and takeout. I would assume that people would go, you know, park street side, you know, because it would be you know, a little bit more available, I think, during the evening time.
Okay.
We don't have that parking. We don't have a plan showing the outside of the building, right? So we don't have a parking layout.
So I have a question because so right now the parking lot is dirt,
Yes.
which is fine, but we have that changed regulation which would require Kazi to put in curb stops or something. Is that something that he has to do, or because the parking lot is pre-existing, he doesn't have to do that?
I think that's an important discussion to have, Adam. I think that to Chris's question, Chris's first question, I think we have to, or we should establish the number of seats in the restaurant, right? I know the application says 24, floor plan shows 28. You know, you've got those extra 2 tables of 2 each, which adds the
I
4.
know towards the back side where there is those 4 right there in the back. I don't. Those I guess were just put in there just to take up space, but they could be easily changed if that'll help with the drawing to move forward.
Yeah, one way or the other, Kazi. It's either 24 and you've got enough parking, or the parking is the same as it was with the earlier use, or you've got 28 and you have to add two parking spaces, and you'll have to show us that the parking spaces exist and work.
I would like it.
Chris-
Go ahead.
Matt, he is also, so if he has 12 parking spaces in the back lot, he is also on the street, and he is on the street parking.
That's absolutely true. I just don't know. The Ty's report indicates that it's the same parking requirement for the current use and the proposed use based on the 24. It seems to me that if we go to 28 and require more parking spaces, then Kazi's going to have to let us know how that parking. I don't know how many parking spaces are in the back. It's just, apples to apples.
Yeah,
Right.
we can eliminate those 2 extra seats if on the drawing, that's not a problem at all. Or was it 4 extra seats? It was, yeah, 4 extra seats, right? Yeah, we can eliminate the 4 extra seats. That wouldn't be a problem. I would go with the 24, so that way we could satisfy that what is currently available.
Adam, I think that answers the question, that if it's 24, requiring 12 parking spaces for the changed use and 12 required for the previous use. I think that was Ty's point in her staff report, that should stand. That could stand if there were 24 seats.
And Kazi, if you ever decided that you needed to have those extra seats, you could even do it yourself if you drew out a plan that showed there's X number of parking spaces in the back, and that you also have a number of parking spaces that you could claim in the front. Then you could come back before us and say, look, I would like to have 28 seats, and I can show that I have the ability for that parking.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. I was just basically I saw the 24 in the writing, and then I just happened to look at the drawing. I said, there's 28 in here. So it's just an oversight on my my part. I didn't realize I didn't do the drawings, so I just overlooked that. But 24 is fine with me.
So just to interject, I did the math based on the higher number
You
of
did the math
seats.
based on
So,
the 20.
yeah, just in case, to be safe.
So he technically he has enough parking for the 28.
And the 3 employees.
So then you could modify your application. You could probably do it right here. I think you'd have to ask and have room for 28. For 28 seats, because that you have the parking that allows for it.
Oh, if everyone is okay with that, and I'll more than likely accept it, but I don't want it to cause any issues or anything.
So I would say moving towards an approval of the application, that would be the first condition, that the application read 28 instead of 24 to conform with the floor plan. Just as a pin in that conversation.
I have a quick question. I know that we've been talking about the electric car chargers. Is that a regulation he needs to uphold? Is that something that we passed? Is it something that he needs to add, just so he knows?
Chris, I'm relatively certain that the new regulation talks about adding for new development and or major renovations.
Okay.
And I would say, well, let's ask that question then now, Kazi. We're talking about an existing building, we're talking about existing parking. What kind of amendments or adjustments or renovations are you making to the exterior of the building?
For the exterior building, it's gonna be pretty much the same. It's gonna pretty much just stay the way it is. The interior is gonna be the where all the renovations take place to fit up the kitchen. And for cosmetics, we'll be putting in painting and doing the floor to put down a vinyl floor. So that way it's user friendly, easy to keep clean and can withstand high traffic. So that's mostly everything's gonna be interior.
So except for that hood that's required by building department or
Yeah, I believe, health department and building department, or I'm sorry, fire. Well, that would be with fire. Part of the building
Fire marshal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. We discussed that with Stan.
so besides that, no windows or siding or different awnings or any renovations on the outside?
Nothing currently, other than putting, replacing the sign that was there. That's about the extent of the outside.
And that's a good point. So that sign then is going to be replaced in kind, same size, same dimensions?
Yes, whatever dimensions he had, I would replace what was there.
Any other comments from the balance of the commission?
Well, just that we have to touch on the marking of the parking spaces. According to the regulations, we do.
Would you say that's necessary, Adam?
I don't think it's necessary, and I think it's very difficult to do in that parking lot to mark them, and then more than that, it makes it very hard to clear the snow. That is not an easy parking lot like that. So clearing the snow is complicated, and if he has to put in curb markers, that's going to become a little difficult in the winter.
Well, I found that parking lot often to be very rutty, filled with holes and difficult to drive in all times of the year, not just the summer. So I don't know where that might need to be redone with some material other than just dirt.
It's a difficult lot. I know that
Mhm.
that Ira always wanted to do more with it, but the landlords wouldn't let him.
Mm.
The exterior would be, I believe, the landlord's responsibility. I mean, we're responsible for maintenance. So I would see probably, filling holes, but because of, I believe, delivery trucks, when they're turning, I believe that's what causes the ruts in there.
I would take a different tack than maybe Adam with regard to parking and marking the spaces where it's a pre-existing parking lot. We're not adding anything to it. There's the same parking requirements from the previous use to now this new proposed use are the same. I would say that all leads me to believe that we don't need to require any striping or delineation of the parking spaces. But I think that we could ask, to Shelby's point, that that parking lot be repaired in some way. But to answer Adam's question regarding the delineation of the spaces, I think that we cannot require that for this application. you know, as my opinion. So, oh, go ahead. Oh, because this is a site plan approval, we're required to chase down certain requirements per the regulations, and 10-300 is that regulation which governs site plan applications and approvals. So I've got several questions that I think we can get through quickly pertaining to that section 10-300, and mostly 10, as Ty points us to, is the 10-350. So a lot of these questions I think Ty can answer. So Ty, we're not, because we're not doing anything outside, and there's likely no wetlands near, we don't need wetlands review.
No, don't need it.
And would the commission agree that we don't need to ask, hold a public informational meeting?
I agree with that. I don't see the need to do that.
Then the notice to certainly not adjoining municipalities, but the water company or DEEP, are those warranted, Ty?
No, no.
We've already determined that there's no exterior alteration, so we don't have to go to the ARB. I believe that this change of use conforms with the tenets of the Plan of Conservation and Development. Is there adequate access for emergency responders?
Yes, I believe there's an exit in the back, and which is a very large door, and then there's the front and the two doors in the front of the building.
And we're right on Route 7. We're right on North Main, right? So there's no access, there's no issue with ambulance or fire or police service.
Yep.
We will require sewer commission approval, so you're going to need to apply to them and get their sign off, and they're going to, as Ty said, likely or probably definitely ask that you install a grease trap.
Yeah, I believe Billy Gowell is going to be going for that next for the sewer or for the grease trap. So they're getting the landlords and the Billy Gowell will be applying for that, I believe.
So
It sounds like you had on your plan, you had a place for the grease trap. Is that correct?
I believe that they're citing on that. We're going to put that in their plan when they put the application in, because they had to review where the sewer line went out and where would be the best place to put the grease trap. So that way there's access for the service sink, and 3-bay sink, and vegetable sink, or I'm sorry, mop sink. Those are the 3 sinks that would be going to the grease trap: a 3-bay, vegetable sink, and mop sink.
And apart from the sewer commission approval, you would need the Torrington Area Health approval.
Yep. I was going to give that. I'm waiting for them to get the approval for the grease trap, so that way I can give her the package for that, which would be hopefully within another week.
So I think that this commission is looking to come to agree on approval of the application. That would be the second and third condition of approval, which is sewer commission approval and Torrington Area Health approval. Ty, is that seems to me something that we can do as a condition of our approval. Agree?
Yeah, it seems like I can hold the zoning permit until those things come through. I did talk to Kathy, and Kathy said that she would be fine with this commission. Kathy from the health department would be fine with this commission going forward, you know, with the approval, even though she hasn't finished with health yet. She feels very confident that that'll be fine.
Great. All right, so just another couple of things. Outdoor lighting, Kazi, are you expecting to put in any additional lighting on the outside of the building?
Well, I've gone by there at night. I haven't seen any, the lighting seems pretty well lit as far as, so the existing lighting, I mean, I would think he already has LED lighting in there, something that's a little bit more efficient, but whatever's there now, I feel is more than sufficient at this current time. And plus I'll have the lighting inside and the windows, or in the window in the front, shows that we're open. So I think it's more than sufficient at this time.
So any changes to that existing lighting, if you do approval, you'd have to come back to us to ask for a different lighting plan, additional lighting or a change in the plan. We already talked about signage. I don't see any traffic impacts. And I also don't see any environmental impacts. It's a pre-existing building, use is changing. But based on Kazi's proposed hours of operations, it's going to be a little bit later than the liquor store, but I think that it's not too big of a change.
Yeah, it coincides with the other places.
I'm sorry, Kazi, it coincides
with like say the Villager or the Pipe and Drum in that area. And Ken Pizza Garden, I believe, is in the back. So I mean, we won't be open as late as them, because our hours, I mean, 8:30 we will be closed by 8:30 for sure. I mean 9 o'clock. I'm sorry.
Okay, so those are the comments and the questions and the concerns that I had that I thought we should discuss with regard to the site plan approval. So I don't have any other questions or comments. So I'd ask the balance of the commission to comment or decide how we should move forward.
I'll make a motion that we accept the waivers. Waivers are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
Second.
Is there sort of to waiver? I'm just running through the waivers. Any discussion from the commission? Then on the motion and second, I would call that vote. All those in favor, so signify by raising your hand and or saying aye. And that is unanimous. That motion carries.
In that case, I'll make a motion that we accept application 3, John Casey Trust, Kazi DiBernardo, 24 North Main Street, map 19, block 42, lot 25, change of use from retail to restaurant, including that we will not require curb markers in the parking lot, and that this approval is based on the approvals from Torrington Area Health Department and the Kent Sewer Commission.
Second.
And Adam, could I add to that motion that the application be changed to state 28 seats instead of 24?
Yes, and we will add that the application is being changed from 24 seats to 28.
Great.
Second.
Great. Thank you, Daryl. Any further discussion from the balance of the commission? Then I would call the vote. All those in favor, so signify by raising your hand and or saying aye. And that motion carries. Okay, so thank you, Kazi. So why don't you would you get in touch with Ty for next steps? I think you know what you have to do. So you might not need to talk to her tomorrow, but as you move through your health department and sewer commission approvals, then you can stay close with Ty.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Okay, have a good
Thanks,
night.
Kazi.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna go. It's okay to go back to work?
Yep.
All right, thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, so then this is the agenda item that we've been looking for the past 32 minutes. And I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. And thanks everybody for thanks for jumping on for the special meeting. It's I know it's short notice, but you know, thanks. And thanks, Alice. I know you said you couldn't come, but it's nice to see
I
you.
came.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Guys.